Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. First item on the agenda is a work session, which includes an executive session. So I would like to get a motion to go in executive session to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
All right. Discussion?
Mayor, I want to make clear what I would think we should be discussing in executive session and what we should not be discussing in executive session. I believe that we should be discussing in executive session consultation with counsel with regards to what our positions may or may not be if we support the idea of payment in lieu of taxes, a pilot.
Gotcha.
And I think that's important to be done in executive session. On the other hand, there's the ultimate question of whether we should do it at whatever percentage, whether it be 10%, 15%, 30%.
Right.
And I do not think that discussion should take place in executive session. I think we've already had a substantial amount of that discussion already in public session, but I just want to make it clear that what I'm seconding is to discuss the negotiation perspective and getting the advice of our attorneys, but not to discuss whether or not, in fact, ultimately we should make the decision to do the pilot.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, I think that for folks that have an interest in this subject, they should clearly be aware that we're discussing exactly the topic that we discussed in a public session with the other party to a significantly detailed degree just a week ago. And there isn't like anything at this point from a perspective position of either that entity or this body was otherwise hidden during that conversation. It was about as open a conversation about this subject matter as you could have. And for me, given that perspective, I fail to see the reason to go into closed session other than to no longer have this conversation in a public setting for the purview of our citizens and viewers.
Councilman, the distinction I would make, to me, is rather clear. One, we're having a public session with having discourse with representatives of the other side who wish to come in and speak to us publicly. This is our own attorneys trying to advise us. I'm not trying to keep it from the public, just the opposite. I'm trying to keep it from the other side. And I think at the conclusion of the advice we get from counsel, what advice they're giving us will ultimately be fully forthcoming when we have the discussion of whether we do a pilot or not. Because I'm assuming the type of things we're going to hear are their opinions on the amount of money we can or we can't get, what happens if there isn't. And those same discussions are going to be made in open session when we discuss whether we should do it. But at this stage, I think we should keep it from the other side until we find out what we're hearing, and then we can make everything public when we make the decision. That's my attitude. I'm not trying to hide it from the public. I'm just trying to negotiate in a sensible manner before we do make it all public. However, I certainly respect your opinion, Kristen, and you know that.
Anybody else? Motion on the table, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries 3-2. We're in executive session.